All right, welcome to another episode of Real Estate First Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, I always. And we have a very special guest. And before we tell you who she is, we want to always encourage to like the episode, subscribe, comment below. What did you learn from the episode? So let's go ahead and get into it. And today we have... Krista. This woman is a powerhouse. She's helping professionals dominate their online marketing and digital marketing, 4 times best author, and she's crushing it also on Clubhouse as well. Welcome to Real Estate First Technology.
Hi, thanks for having me, Dan and Norm. I'm super excited to be here. I appreciate it. This is like, I love this stuff. This is what I
Awesome.
Awesome.
I love it. Fantastic. And we know, I have your Instagram up here. You know what? Let's go ahead and put it behind me. And you're crushing it. I mean, you're up to 23,000 plus views. You're crushing your TikTok. You're crushing your reels. Before we even got on the air, you're talking about how your team is just booked you back to back Zooms. So it's hard sometimes to even just hey, can I just get a 15-minute break here?
Can I eat? What about food,
Yeah. So
complaint.
Behind the brand, behind the courses, behind all the amazing things that you're doing. And by the way, I love your card collection. Tell us about you. Where did this all come about? And where'd you start to get to where you're at today to help so many and to write all these books and do the things that you've done?
I think that's a really good question. And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of times people will see people that are successful and they just kind of assume that it's always been so easy for them and they just have that magic sauce, or maybe it's because I have pretty fake hair, or whatever it might be. They think that, they make assumptions based upon Norman, has this podcast because he's really outgoing, or, Dan is his co-host because he, fill in the blank. And quite frankly, it isn't true. So I love when people ask me about kind of my past. And this is something that I didn't start talking about until about 2 years ago. I I had my story about, how I got into real estate, and it was real, but it wasn't the real story behind the story, if that makes sense. And so, I learned, I went to actually a funnel hacking live event, and they talked all about how your story can be really impactful. And my goal is to just make a massive impact to help people take action. And it talked about how your story can make people realize that, they could do anything and everything. So I remember getting on the plane and writing this letter to my mom, and I was bawling on the plane and basically just asking her for permission to be able to talk about the story. And the reason why it was hard for me is because I'm very, very close to my mom. I have a lot of respect for her. I love her. And, I had an amazing upbringing with her, but then I also had this other part of the upbringing that was kind of like I was living 2 separate lives in 2 separate families, if that makes sense. And there was some physical abuse that was happening in the family. And so I ended up running away from home when I was 13 and haven't lived at home since I was 13. I found myself living in cars and my friends' closets and, abandoned buildings. And then I got sent to juvenile hall. And I know I'm just kind of rushing through this, but I don't want to, get too deep. But then I was in, a group home for a year, which has a ton of shame, and people don't want to talk to you because you're the weird kid. And then from there I was shipped off to a foster home. So
wow.
I haven't lived at home since I was 13. And, because my mom is so wonderful, we have, an amazing relationship, and she helped me heal and go through counseling to kind of work out the abuse that was happening when I was younger, and she took full accountability for it. And it's just been quite shocking, quite frankly. Most parents don't do that, but it's been pretty crazy. So that's I say that because now, I've been able to overcome all these things, and there's a lot of head trash that comes along with being raised that way and not feeling good enough and not, feeling worthy enough and all these things. And I've been able to just kind of push it to the wayside and really just plow forward. And I believe anybody has that potential.
Amen. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, exactly. No, it's awesome too, because I love how you just kind of put it out there, and, you've obviously worked through it. So now you feel comfortable enough to just put it out there. And I feel like that gives life contrast. You have so much contrast. You have so much depth about you. You could take that depth and you could apply it to be able to be a chameleon in a sense, where you can meet these different demographics of people and kind of have a sense of their headspace because you've been there.
Yeah.
And, you know, from being super successful to, you know, living in, you know, someone's closet. And I can relate to you on some of those subject matters as well. So kudos to you. So what was the tipping point? Like, when did you say, hey, I'm going to go real estate? Like, that's going to
Okay,
be
so when I ended up, you know, getting married, and I was a teacher. I taught third grade for 6 years. I put myself through college, got my master's degree in curriculum and instruction, and became a teacher. And my youngest daughter got really, really sick. She actually contracted spinal meningitis, and she had a stroke, couple of strokes, and she was at the Oakland hospital for 3 weeks in isolation. And they told me, hey, your daughter's probably not going to make it. She's perfect now. I'll just say that she's 20 years old and she's amazing, just a little crazy like me, ADD, but they said that, hey, she's probably going to have some major learning disabilities, possible blind, possible deaf from the strokes. You know, you just prepare yourself for kind of a rough childhood. So I decided to leave my full-time teaching job and to be a stay-at-home mom. And I thought I would just play real estate, right? And like sell 2 or 3 houses a year so I could focus on raising my daughter, about 2 daughters at the time. And then really quickly after that, I found out my husband at the time was having an affair, and he drained our bank accounts, had a new girlfriend, picking up the kids, you know, driving my car. And next thing you know, I'm like, holy crap, we just bought a new house. I have no money, no job, 2 daughters under, you know, like 2 and 4. I got to like really dive into real estate. So that's how the real estate thing happened.
Wow.
You're like, Krista's life seems really screwed up. It's really not that bad. You're just hearing the bad parts.
That's amazing. No. I love it, because at the end of the day, you didn't let those things dictate the outcome of who you are today. And that's phenomenal. You just took it and said, okay, here's some more kerosene for my fire. I'm just going to fix it.
So that, you know, I'll tell you, I had a why. My why was, I want to keep my kids safe in this house. And being, you know, not living at home since I was 13, it was like really important to me to keep them safe, keep them secure, keep them there. And that love and that desire and that want, like, I sold 69 houses myself my first year in real estate. And so it was because of the why. Like, people say, you need to know your why. It's like, people think, oh, it's BS. Well, I'll tell you, I had a very strong why. I had to, my upbringing, all the good parts and the bad parts made me want to make sure that they had the best childhood ever. And so that's what propelled me to, you know, get my butt into action.
It's a true testament to not being a product of your environment and allowing things to just kind of, you know, things were hard, family wasn't perfect, you know, living in a car, right? There's so many different ways you could have ended up, but you applied that to a vision and having grit. I think that makes you successful. And I think if any of that wouldn't have happened in the past, I'm not to say that you wouldn't be an all-star agent that you are now, but I think that's what really paints the picture and keeps you on that highway to success.
Yeah. And with that being said, like everyone, there were so many great aspects of growing up too, you know, and I don't think I'd be as normal as I am, considering how bad things could get when things also were so great, right? There was so many, we did family vacations, and like my dad was my best friend, still is growing up. And, you know, I had 2 brothers and we loved and killed each other all at the same time. And, you know, we went camping all the time and boating, and we were really poor though, but we still, I mean, yes. So there's so many great parts, but also a lot of really dark, you know, dark parts, just to make it right. We can move on past that. So let's talk about, like, how have I been able to generate $34 million online in 4 years? And that is from technology. So let's get to that point, right? Number one is having like an unwavering belief in myself that I can do anything, working on the head trash, and completely knowing that mindset is more important than skill set. If I can keep my mind right, I can pretty much do anything. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that real estate agents have, is that they are so fear-based because they are not taught how to do anything. They don't want to share their successes. They don't want to give away their secrets or tips and tricks, right? And so they're so like coming from a place of like lack that they get lack, right? And I think that's been one of the keys to my success too, is just really not coming from a place of scarcity and coming from a place of abundance in everything. And then like learning from people like you, Dan, and you, Norman, and really embracing technology and not feeling like I'm too old or too dumb or too, you know, fill in the blank, and just like really adapting change.
Wow. I absolutely love that. I got to say that, like, I first saw you from one of your ads, right? And then after I saw your ads, team spoke and said, hey, we got to get on the show. Now you're here. And at the end of the day, all of what you told me just gave me a whole different level of respect for you and for your ads. And now when I see your post, just testimonial to what you just told us, is going to make me feel more like I'm more going to validate you and want to like or comment or look out for what you're doing, because I connected with your story. And it was so just moving for me. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I do appreciate, because I'm Real Estate First Tech, we like to kind of like peel back the onion and like get behind the brand and the smiley face and the TikToks and the reels, because a lot of people do that, but then you don't know who they really are. Right. And so it's nice to have that different perspective. So I really do appreciate that. And Dan's the guy, he's a technical guy that loves to get into all the technicality stuff. So I'm going to change up the camera angle, give it to Dan for the mix-up round, and he's going to go ahead and take it away and ask you some of those technical questions when it comes to technology, because I'm curious to know how your systems and things that you've done work and everything, because you're crushing it.
So before Krista 2.0, like just real estate, as you evolved and became a top producer, what was like your real estate tool belt of tech that enabled you to be successful and scale your business?
That's a great question. So my first year, like I said, I sold 69 houses. My best year in the industry, I sold 169 houses, and that was without a team. It was just myself, a transaction coordinator, and an assistant, right? No other licensed agents. It was all me. Wow. The year I left real estate to go into coaching full time, I did 154 homes that year. That was 4 years ago. And here's what I will tell you that I always made sure I did, even back 20 years ago when I started. I would love to learn like what other people were doing in the industry, and like realize, okay, I would point out the things people were doing well, and then the weaknesses people had, and realize how can I enhance the things that people are doing well, and how can I look at their weaknesses to find out what my areas of opportunity were in the industry. So I'll give you some really easy examples. Yeah. Back in the day when everybody was doing like, black and white flyers, if they were even doing those, right? Yeah. I would do like 4-page colored brochures, and I'd stick like a CD on my list, my signs, and with like 50 pictures in them that the people could take and put in their computer. And I'd market on television and at the movie theaters, and like do all the things that most people wouldn't be willing to do. I invested, I took out money so that I could have a marketing budget to market myself and my properties to position me as differently. So I was always looking at what's happening, how can I do it better? If everyone else, like right now, everyone says open houses, and I say open houses suck, and here's why, right? Brokers, they're saying do broker stores, I'm saying broker stores suck, and here's why. And I'm like literally like telling all the reasons why that's completely not true. It doesn't work for the seller, it works for the agents, and we all know it, right? And so it's like really positioning myself as different as I can in the marketplace, no matter what's happening, and also trying to predict like where we're at now and where we're going to be, so I can start making adjustments sooner.
It's an innovator. Wow. I think there's a commonality between you, Kenny Fast, people in your market that are crushing it, that have become successful because they're not afraid to try stuff that are new or position themselves differently than everyone else. That's totally what it is.
Yeah. And that's like in any industry, right? I mean, it's kind of like when, so let me give you an example how this again happened again. So as I said, my best year in real estate was when I was 169 homes. Those were all foreclosures, right? All foreclosures. Wow. So I worked with like 13 different asset management companies and banks, like I had HUD, Wells Fargo, Green River Capital, Nationwide Area Brokers, all these different banks and asset managements, and all of a sudden the market got good, right? So it went from like being all short sales, and I had been smart enough to see that happening. So I kind of positioned myself to start traveling in the country and picking up these accounts. Well, I wasn't so smart to realize that it was going to transition the other way back, right? Like it kind of happened. I was so busy selling so many freaking houses and just working my butt off that I didn't see it like starting to kind of get better. It almost seemed like overnight it went from 169 houses to 12. And I was like, oh, what the hell happened, right? So I go to a listing appointment, and it was a regular listing appointment, and they go, Krista, we love you, but the last guy called you the foreclosure queen. And I was like, I am the foreclosure queen. Like no one in my market knows me. I didn't market myself. I was just like churn and burn foreclosures, right? They were selling faster than I can get them. And so I started studying what the Fortune 500 companies were doing. Like, how are they marketing? What are they doing? Not real estate agents. Like, what are the big wig people in the world doing? And so, like, if you think about McDonald's, why does McDonald's market during the Super Bowl when it's the most expensive time to market? And it costs like 100 times more, because they know that eyes equal attention, right? The more attention they can have, the more impact they can have, the more they can sell. And I can't tell you how many times I'll get like a stupid text message from Roundtable, like today, 19.99 pizza and a free, liter of Coke. And I'm like, let's go to pizza, So I realized I've got to become a marketer. So I started, I realized at that time, I'm going to market myself the way the Fortune 500 companies do. So I started creating video content. This is way before nobody was doing video back then. Like I had to hire a videographer. I spent $2,000 doing a dumb video and putting it on the movie theaters back then, right? Now I could do the same video for $5 on my phone. I mean, and then I started taking those videos and I started running Facebook ads. This is 10 years ago and very, very new. Before a year's time, I was back up to over 100 homes a year, and none of them were short sales or foreclosures. They were all traditional homes. So that tells your listeners this: you can completely transition where you're at right now, whether you're a brand new agent, a brand new mortgage officer, brand new to an area. If you can position yourself and learn to be a marketer first and a real estate agent second, you're a marketer, right? Marketer. You need to know who you're going after, what they want, what they need. Your messaging, your marketing needs to speak directly to them so that they can convert. And you need to reach them where they're looking, which is online, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was like so cool to realize I could change myself. And we see people doing this all the time now, because real estate agents are so, and this is not I love you real estate agents, right? It's not a negative, but we are so far to kind of pick up on things, right? There's
stuck in the deal.
Yeah, we're still like travel agents are gone. Why? Because they didn't adapt. Okay. Remember the big, huge phones we used to use? Now the phones are like this size, right? Yeah. You think about, Uber took over taxis and Amazon wiped out 8,000 retail stores last year. Blockbuster, like you love Blockbuster. You never thought Blockbuster would go away, gone, because they did not innovate. Real estate agents need to innovate and learn to start marketing the way that the consumer wants to be marketed to.
Oh,
woo. Right. And we're not doing that. Like what most agents are doing is like, I'm number one and look at the house I just sold, just listed, just sold. I'm so great. Look at me. Da, da, da. Nobody cares. Like they don't care about that. What they care about is number one, to know that you care. And number two, that you can be the solution to their problems. So the fastest way, like if anyone said, Krista, what would you say? Like if you were to tell me in 12 months, how can I start beating out top producers? How can I dominate my area? I would say, go into an area, identify who you want to work with, list all their problems, what their needs are, what their wants are, what their desires are, find out where they hang out, their age demographic, where they're shopping, what they're doing, and then start marketing to that consumer where they are based upon their problems, their issues, their wants, their desires, and start creating content that speaks directly to them to show that you can solve the problem. And then show up where they're at, which we all know is online, right? It's online.
This is, I mean, I love the validation from somebody who coaches this, and this is not a plug for our own company, but when we rebranded and made ourselves a positioning agency in real estate, it was all about that. Like, find your client, go deep on content, make sure you're addressing their problems, create solutions, programs, scalability, systems, anything that's going to make them want to work with you, and then accelerate it, expose it, and market it. And I think you bring up some great points that I think I always tell everybody in a listing. I'm an agent as well. And I go into a listing appointment and I say, I'm going to listen to what your needs are, what you're trying to do, what your timeline is. And then I'm just going to tell you, it's not the best real estate agent that wins. It's the best marketer that wins. The person who gets the most showings, the most offers, the most views, the most engagements, the most clicks, the most shares. And I'm going to tell you, that's what I'm going to do for you. Mm-hmm. And that's what people started to realize, is that marketing, and even back when Gary Keller wrote the Red Book, he said lead generation is your number one goal. If you're not lead generating, you're not making a business. And you're just taking it to a scientific level now of how an agency or an agent should take it.
And what they need to do is even one step further. And this is one thing that I teach my students. And I got this saying from Sharon Cervantes. I love him. He says, he calls it win before you arrive, and he teaches it in a different aspect. So we want to win before we even get to the front door, right? So before I even get to that listing presentation, number one, I need to be showing up in people's news feeds prior to when they're ready to make a decision. Buyers and sellers think about the transaction about 3 to 6 months before. So if I'm just showing up when they're thinking about it, I'm too late. I need to be showing up top of mind, know, like, trust, positioning myself as the authority, showing that I'm the expert, developing a relationship with before they're ready to even start, right? So the idea of good marketing is when somebody raises their hand and says, hey, I would like to work with you. So like what a lot of people will do is like, they'll mass market to people, like just listed, just sold, I'm the best, right? Matt, you market to everyone, you're marketing into none. But if you can put out content, like for example, this past year, my whole campaigns have been based on, I want sellers. I don't want buyers. I want sellers because limited inventory. We know if you win the listings, you win the market. So we put out a ton of content specifically geared towards selling. And like, for example, what was one of the main things that sellers were worried about? Everyone, unless you're completely blind and deaf, everyone knows it's a seller's market. We know there's bidding wars, multiple offers, there's no inventory. Like everyone knows it's the best time to sell. Yep. But sellers are afraid to sell because they're afraid that they're going to have no place to go. They're not going to be able to find a replacement property. So when I say it's a great time to sell your house, they all already know that. They're tuning me out, right? They're not listening because they already know that. And they're afraid to sell because they're afraid they're going to be homeless. So if I say, hey, have you thought about selling, but you're afraid to sell because you know that you're going to be homeless because there's multiple offers and bidding wars, but you want to sell right now because you know it's the best time. Bam. Yes, that's me. I want to sell, but I'm afraid of that. Okay, great. Now I start retargeting more videos on the solutions to selling in a multiple market, right? Mm-hmm. Then after watching 2 to 3 videos, I say, hey, would you like a market analysis on your home? And they say, absolutely. Yes, I would like a market analysis on my home. And then I drop off the marketing analysis to their house. I drop off a book, the Savvy Seller. I drop off my marketing plan. I send them to a 17-minute marketing video that tells them every single reason why marketing is the number one reason that you need to think about and an experienced agent when you're listing with them, and how marketing, how that makes a difference in their sale. And then they're saying, now can I have an appointment with you? Right. So before I even go to the appointment, they've read my book, they've watched my marketing plan, they've watched a 17-minute video. I've emailed that to them. I've emailed the book, the listing presentation, all these things. So they've got like 13 touches. And I know I'm like super crazy right now, but I've already won the appointment before I got there because number one, they like me because they're watching my content. They've developed a relationship with me. I'm positioning myself as the authority. I'm doing 13 things that nobody else is doing. And I'm winning before I arrive. And I've already I get there, commission doesn't come up. They don't give a crap that I'm charging 6% because I've already showed them that I can get between 18 and 22% more than all my competitors in the exact same market. And yes, marketing does make a difference, even though there's bidding wars, because if you don't do it, it's costing you. It's like, you got to win before you even get there. And most agents aren't even willing to do one of those 13 things. You know what I'm saying? It's like a no-brainer. You're like, Krista is crazy.
No, you have a passion for making a very clear and concise, implementation plan, right? Like you've thought about this from all different angles. Like if I'm going to walk into this listing appointment, I'm going to make sure that the law of reciprocity, I can never say the word properly.
Reciprocity, I always get it wrong too.
Yeah, but now they need to work with you because you've given them so much value, so much information, so many things that no one else is giving them that they're just like, yeah, where do I sign?
So in September, I had a live event and I had 125 agents from across the country. And I teach them this process, like how to actually, create content, target people, get sellers to raise their hand and say, hey, can you get me a market analysis? And then once someone raises their hand, to ensure that you list that house, right? Like, okay, now that you've gotten them to raise their hand, now let's make sure that they say yes, no matter what. We had 2/4 of the room stand up, the ones that had already done the whole process, because a lot of them hadn't gotten there yet. And they said, I have not lost a listing since I started. I've not lost a listing since I started doing this. And I'm competing with 2 to 6 agents every single time. I've not lost a listing in a competitive market because they're doing what no one else is doing. They're literally winning before they arrive. They're using their systems and technology and innovation, right? And one thing I didn't say is another step that we do, when somebody requests a market analysis, we also tell them, okay, before you go drop off the marketing plan, before you send it digitally, go on Zoom and Loom, pull up the marketing plan, show yourself, say, hey, Dan, it's Krista. I just want to give you a 3-minute overview of your house on 127 Main Street. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you, do a quick 3-minute overview. And we're sending that as well. So now it's they are showing themselves so differently. They're on a job interview. Like anything and everything that you do is a prerequisite to how you're going to treat them once you actually get the listing, right? Or get the buyer. You're showing them like you are their person. Like there's no one else that is going to be able to, to beat you. And it was so crazy. So this year, January 2nd, I sat at home. It was on a Sunday, right? I know that because it was January 2nd. And I went and I did all the data. I just took one city in my area. And last year, I think my brother, we only sold 64 houses, but I didn't talk to one buyer or one seller. We did 1.4 in GCI. For me, not speaking to anyone, I just had my brother show up as me, and I was the face of it. So I did the numbers, and we could show that we were able to sell our houses. And we took all the houses in Brentwood that sold for under an acre. We had done 31 in Brentwood, but out of the 31, 20 met this criteria. We were able to show that because of our marketing, we sold our houses between 18 and 22% higher than discount brokers and traditional brokers in that same criteria throughout the whole city, right? And I mean, significant amount. That's like $166,000 on average. We sold our houses for, not just one, not just two, like we did it 21 times, right? And we showed the average cumulative of all of that. So marketing makes a difference. Now, when I can now put that into words, I can say marketing is important, but let me show you why marketing is important, and be able to then direct them to another video after I show them that 17-minute marketing video. Now, here's why all these things make a difference, and here's how they affect you. It's like, they don't care about the 1% commission or the 2% commission. They're like, because you can show them numbers why it makes a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, it's
wow.
It's
too much Red Bull today or something. I don't
know. It's what agents need to hear, right? It's not a cookie cutter. I'm just going to get out of my car, do the same thing over and over. You got to innovate. You got to lead with value. You got to provide information, and you take it a whole different level, which is you got to crunch the numbers, build the statistical analysis and the net to seller that show, This is
the box you drop it off in. So if there's a box, it's a QR code that takes them to a seller seminar funnel with like 17 other videos. Inside this box, like if you just look at this right here, it usually has their address there. If you just look at like marketing, it says Facebook ads, retargeting campaigns, digital repurposing, digital marketing, traditional marketing, design consultation, pick your neighbor, virtual open house, 360 video tour, video, direct mail, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn ads, mass web exposure, signage, website, print. Like most agents don't even know what 3/4 of these things are, right? Yeah. So they're getting this from me. And then I have my book in here, my marketing plan in here. This directs them to a video, of that 17-minute listing presentation. It directs them to a video that shows the stats and how it makes a difference. Like no one's doing that, right? And so people will say, oh my God, you spent $10 dropping off that. And I'm like, yes, you know why? In 12 months, we picked up 48 sellers transactions from just that one strategy I just told you, resulting in $760,000 of commissions. 48 transactions, 12 months just from that. We sold more. That is just from that. So yes, I'm willing to spend $10 to make
700,000.
To make 700,000. I'm willing to do it. Yes, I am.
Oh man, I love it. I want that box.
Wow.
It's a good box, yes.
Wow. Jeez. Well, awesome. Thanks, Dan, for that mix-up round, and that was phenomenal. And I gotta say, like, Krista, you're just like a firehouse. I don't even think it's Red Bull. It's just because of you as a person, and I can just feel your passion. And I have to say that it's so refreshing, because I think a lot of individuals out there need to understand like what is going on here, and that, you go 10 steps ahead. And a quick story on my side, I have a neighbor, they're husband, wife, guys, the husband, he's mortgaged, wife's realtor. I want to do business with them. You start to get into bed with them. You're like, whoa, okay, hold on here. You don't know obviously what you're doing on the mortgage side, but I'll give you a shot. On the real estate side, you're giving me some stupid thing to fill out. I'm just like, you didn't even do any of your persona profile on me to know who I am, or even what type of reach or connections I have. I'm already talking to my title rep right now to give me market data so I can start picking up the phones or sending out mailers to freaking homes for duplexes around what I'm looking for, because the agent's not even going to do the work that I'm going to do myself, because I'm in the industry and I don't even have my license. And then I have a friend of mine who would give up her commission just for me so I could save 15,000 on the deal to move forward. Like, it's just mind-boggling how these agents work. So I'm just like, I got to say, like, kudos to you and everything that you're doing. And I have some people I want to connect you with after the show. So maybe some things, some past episodes you were on in a conversation I had 2 hours ago that I want to fill you in on. But let's get into like, what is like your goal now? You've done all this transaction volume, you know, you wrote the books, you know, you're now getting into coaching for realtors. Is there a number of agents you want to serve? Are you trying to innovate this industry? Are you trying to like, what is the legacy for you at the end of the Olympic road?
So I have a manifesto, and my manifesto, it says, I positively affect every life that I touch. I make a difference in the world. I uplift and upbuild those around me. I help agents achieve more personal time and freedom. I am building community market leaders across the country who make an impact on their communities and who are go-givers. At this point, like, I mean, obviously money is great, right? I have got plenty of it. You know, we've got 2 multi-million-dollar companies, but we are selling an average of $1.5 to $2 million a month to realtors, like in coaching, bringing on around 40 to 70 agents a month across the country. And we're teaching them how to do this. At this point, like, agents need help. It is one of the most lucrative industries. Like, I don't know very many doctors, attorneys, or lawyers. They go to school for, 7 to 13 years, and they have hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And they average on average make around $150,000 a year. Like, I have a student that made $240,000 in a week last month, in a week. No, and she's only been in the industry for a year and a half. This industry is so lucrative, right? These agents have such potential to make such of an impact and to truly have financial freedom and time, that they have to learn how to do it. And so, we're like on a mission to just help people enjoy real estate again, right? To be able to enjoy their life again, because people go into real estate because they want financial freedom and time, to realize they have none of it. And quite frankly, they are hurting the consumer. My goal is to help the agent have a better work-life balance, to enjoy life again, to make more money, and to be able to give a better experience to this consumer, because the consumer deserves it, right? And to like get our good name back as real estate agents. Right? We kind of got a bad name in 2008 or whatever it might be. And so that's kind of the mission. And we love people and we want to help, and we're doing it. Like, we are literally creating community market leaders across the country who are utilizing these type of strategies, and they're earning what they actually should be. They're actually, you get made so much money in real estate, right? I don't care if these people say, oh, my commission's only $2,000. I'm like, I was a teacher, and I started like making $2,500 a month as a teacher, and I had gone to school for 6 years, and I mean, that is so much money. And I worked 40, 50 hours a week. It's like so much money they can make.
We answered 4 calls and wrote an offer.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, come on, people.
My wife's a teacher, and that's why we're buying the duplex, to help her have some passive income, so then she can go full time and still have some income for herself. And then we're going to duplicate that investment portfolio as we grow. But yeah, I mean, amen to the teachers out there.
I love teachers.
Any blue collar workers, anyone out there putting in their time and trading that time for money. But you're so right, because there's so much opportunity in real estate.
Norman, you should tell her to become a real estate agent. Teachers do so good in real estate.
I know. I would if she wasn't already international tea master, and she's traveled the world and already has a tea company that she's so passionate about. And she knows that she's fine with me. So she just wants to do some fun stuff, make 10,000 a month, to be okay. That's
awesome.
So, yeah. So that's her thing, but I do appreciate that. So last question before we open up the floor to you, so you can just leave the viewers and listeners anything you want to leave here today. What do you see for real estate in regards to, there's the cliche term that, technology is going to innovate the real estate industry and replace agents. Obviously, we know that's not going to happen, right? There's that relationship building and that relationship part of the business, and people buy from someone they know, like, and trust. Technology can never replace that. So what is your thoughts? Where do you see this industry in the next 5 to 10 years, as you're here contributing to the success? We're here contributing to the success. What does the new agent look like in the next 5 to 10 years? What does the industry look like?
So I just did a video from, I watched the National Association of Realtors, like their upcoming forecast, right? And it's bleak, guys. Like, first of all, because, and not to scare people, but I mean, Redfin, Zillow, iBuyer. There's all these different industries that are coming in to try to change the way things are.
Yeah.
In fact, the top 10% of agents made more this past in 2020. The bottom made significant less, and they are anticipated the bottom 80% are anticipated to do under 2 deals each a year in nationally. Okay, because of all the competition, all the new innovations that are happening, and the lack of inventory. Now more than ever, it is essential that, and because people do want people, right? But you're going to have some that are going to say, I want to try this thing, and it'll cost them. It won't be, it's not the smartest thing. It'll cost them, but people are getting smarter. They realize they want more, and you need to have your unique selling proposition. And I mean, truly be able to show what makes you different. It can't just be because you're nice and people like me and I have a lot of experience. No, what truly makes you different? You need to be able to say that. Like, why should somebody hire you over somebody else? Not just say that. You need to be able to show it and distribute it and display it before you even get in front of somebody. If you can do that, not if, but when, and you can, that is going to save you, right? Because they still want real estate is a big deal. Like, still, what, top 3 stressors, selling houses and buying, biggest financial thing. People want somebody, but they're also, the consumer is getting smarter, and they want truly qualified people to earn. Like, most of you think that you're reducing your commission. I think you're getting paid too much. Most of you are getting paid too much, even though you're reducing, because you are not earning that commission. You're doing what everyone else is, and you are costing your seller and your buyer money because you are not educating yourselves and you're not innovative. You have got to be different. You've got to be educated, and you've got to truly be able to show value. That's all I'll say. If you can do that, you're fine. Like, you're going to soar. You're going to do awesome. And we're teaching people to do that. And the consumer is getting smarter. They know. They know that they need it.
I can't tell you how many clients we've had that signed up for our services because they're like, oh my God, my client told me that I need to get on Facebook, and I do ads, and I got to do retargeting, and I have to do these different things. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now you want to listen after it ties directly to your paycheck, because the person you're trying to hire, or the person who's trying to hire you, doesn't see the value proposition. And it's so true. We're getting so much smarter. Like, the average buyer is 34 years of age. Hi, how's it going? And, we're smarter. We're getting on stories. We're getting on reels. I want to go online. For anyone who out there is listening, I want to go online, and I want to be able to listen or watch or observe something about you to build the know, like, and trust. And I was talking to someone about this. Like, people are going to go on YouTube. They're going to type in a term. There's going to be 5 agents all with the same exact content, but it's going to be what personality you like. And you're going to, I like this personality, and you go after that one and do that. So I have to agree. And before we close it out and open up the floor for you, Krista, I just want to say, I want everyone to think about empty nesters. I think the next big wave is empty nesters. Unfortunately, they're not on TikTok. They're not on Reels. They're on Facebook. That's the average demographic. But if you go on Every Door Direct, EDDM, and you look at the farms, and you look at the age demographics, majority of them are older and they need to go somewhere. And I think those are the ones that are going to be going to Florida. They're going to be relocating. They're going to go to retirement communities. I'm seeing it all across the country. So I think that's the next big wave, which is going to be interesting, Krista, because I know you're big on social. So that might have to be on like the Facebook side of things, but I don't know. We'll see. You got
to have an omnipresence. I believe omnipresence, right? Like, if you're on, like right now, I love Every Door Direct. I love direct marketing mail because the millennials never get it. So they love it, right? They love getting their mail. Yeah. But you got to do it consistently. So when somebody sees you on Facebook, and then they see you on YouTube, and they do all this stuff, you want to be seen everywhere. And you want to be able to, like you said, binge watch your stuff, develop that relationship. So they're like, hey, I like that person. And there's still so much opportunity, you guys out there, because no one's doing it. Agents are so afraid of it. And guess what? They do it once or twice, and then they start to create video content. They don't know how to properly distribute it. So no one's seeing it because they don't know how to create ads and to retarget and target people. Yep. So it's like they're spending all this time creating content. No one's seeing it anyways. Go to the people like Norman and Dan that can teach you how to properly get yourself out there. So much opportunity for you to still absolutely crush it, because the average agent is not willing to do what it takes and put the time in.
Amen. I love it. I was just going to change the camera angle and say, okay, what do you want to say on closing? But
she did.
That was already it. That was awesome, man. Chris, I mean, you are a firehouse. We really appreciate your time, right? Because we're all busy individuals. And the fact that you sat down with us and you gave us your time and you just shared the knowledge and your story, I got to say thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know. Do you guys, can I share anything else or no?
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay.
Go ahead. Put it out there.
We do a boot camp every month, and it's 3 full days. We talk all about digital marketing, video, and how to like dominate your area. And we talk about niching and so much more. And it's every month, and it is only $47 for your people right now. So if they go to KristaMashore.com/bootcamp, that's KristaMashore.com/bootcamp, they can get in for $47, $10,000 value. I guarantee you we will blow their minds.
Wow. Well, we appreciate you so much. All the links will be down below. So check out those links down below. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Norman. Dan, you guys are awesome.
Of course, you're awesome too. Thank you so much, Dan. Thanks for co-hosting. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Krista, thanks for coming on, and finally glad to meet you. I've seen you on podcasts and different things, and I was like, let's get her on the show.
I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. And thank you for giving back to the community and helping these agents they need it. And I just appreciate you guys, being servant hearts.
Doing the best we can, right? And at the end of the day, that's what Real Estate First Tech's about. It's about giving, showing up, and showing out. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe, like, comment below. What the heck did you learn? I know you learned something. So thanks so much for all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention. We take something from our episodes to apply to your business and have more massive success, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Real Estate First Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, you're a real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate First Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate First Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate First Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.